Then the volunteers are people that we've met through the hospital that we've either supported or supported a family member.
For me, it's about, as a director of a company, how do we give back to the society?
Give us, the audience, some idea of how many people you've helped, how many people you help in each month or each year.
We started from that 10 quid that it cost us to get outside back in 2011, and today we're thriving.
We don't have to just rely on fundraising and donations and grants like charities traditionally do. Actually, we can find a different way to work with businesses to create a sustainable future and help as many people as possible.
This episode of All Things Business, the podcast, is brought to you by digital media partner DFA Law. DFA Law, providers of expert and dedicated legal advice to businesses and families since 1838. DFA Law, the law firm for life.
Lorraine, Barry, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you both?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Very good.
Thank you for joining me. We're going to talk about a collaboration of both your organisations. But before we do that, Lorraine, a lot of people watching, listening to this will have heard of the Lewis Foundation. Yeah. But for those that haven't, just introduce yourself and the Lewis Foundation, please.
Yeah, so the Lewis Foundation is focused on supporting adults diagnosed with cancer, set up because my mother-in-law had cancer and we spent a lot of time in hospitals. So what our focus is about bringing some comfort and some support to people as they're going through treatment. So when somebody's in hospital, they can pick one of our gift packs. So it might be they need an overnight pack, they have no toiletries or underwear, or they might just simply want something to pass the time like a book. And it's also about spending time with people as well. So for us, it's about giving people that support when they're going through one of the most difficult times of their lives.
And how long have you been going?
8.5 years now, so
wow.
A long time from where we first met.
Yeah. I've probably put on a couple of chins. And if I'm going to put you on the spot now, but just give us the audience some idea of how many people you've helped, how many people you help in each month or each year.
Yeah, so we give about 2,000 packs away a month. We now support 17 hospitals across the Midlands, so it's grown a lot in the 8.5 year period. And it's basically because patients might be in Northampton, but because of their particular type of cancer, they have treatment in, say, Leicester or Nottingham. So when they get there, they're like, where's the Lewis Foundation? And then you usually find the hospital gets in contact. So yeah, that's the kind of range that we're supporting at the moment. And we have other hospitals across the country contacting us as well.
And is that hospitals that are contacting you to say, can you come and support our patients? Or is it a combination of that and also patients getting in touch directly?
So it's usually patients contacting us to say, can you look at the hospital? And also hospitals as well getting in contact, because I suppose when we set up, we didn't realise how much of a benefit it was to people. We knew it would help, but we didn't realise it would have such an impact, and it spread a lot more than we ever could have imagined. But, you know, it's nice on a daily basis to get messages from patients and their families to see how much it helps. So, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Okay. And Barry, you and your wife founded Soul Retail.
That's right.
And I was reading up on you over the weekend. Your journey's been pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we my grandmother died in 2010, and in early 2011, rather than putting all of her stuff into a skip, we decided, or my wife decided actually, that we were going to sell her stuff on eBay. I remember glaring across the table at my wife at that point going, what are you talking about? eBay. We've got enough guff going on in our life. Anyway, January comes, into our little flat comes all of my stuff from a nan, and she starts photographing it and selling it on eBay. We didn't quite realise what was actually going to sell and where it was going to sell, when all over the world this stuff, it's just old women's stuff. She was in her late 80s when she died. So cut a long story short, and very romantically, I got made redundant, so we both moved in together. In came all the cushions and candles, and out went all of my PlayStations and speakers. They were sold on eBay, and then we just progressed from there, really. You fast forward to today, we are one of the world's biggest health and beauty sellers on third-party platforms on the planet. We sell to 17 different countries, turn over £20 million. We've never taken a loan investment overdraft. So we started from that 10 quid that it cost us to get outside back in 2011. And today we're thriving.
So I've got to take you back though. So at what point did you think actually there's a business opportunity here?
I've never thought that. I think, we took it step by step. So back in 2011, it was all about selling my nan's stuff and giving my mum some money back towards the legacy of my grandmother. Once that happened, then it was all about clearing debts off credit cards. I mean, I got offered a job in the March, April time of 2011. At the very same time, Kate got made redundant. So it was a chain of events really that sort of sparked it off. We looked at the finances. We said, look, I'll do the job. You go do some self-employed work. Let's see if we can use eBay to make some pocket money.
And if I may, what industry were you both in at the time?
So I was in sales, and she was in logistics. I've been in sales all my life.
Yeah.
So I'm the guy that says yes, and she's the one that says no. And that's how it goes. And so as we built our business up, Amazon came along to us in 2012 and said, would you sell with us on Amazon? I said yes. She said no. You can see how the relationship goes. And eventually, this is the only battle I've won in 10 years. We got onto Amazon, and then we
what were you selling? What was the first product range that you were selling?
Well, the very first things we were selling for car boot sales were DVDs. Blu-ray was coming out at the time, right?
Arthur, do you know what a DVD is?
It's just
So Blu-rays were coming out, DVDs were all the rage.
Oh.
We were going around.
Do you know, I used to get a Blu-ray when you bought a film on Sky for an extra £5. You could get a Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we were going around car boot sales, buying DVDs and selling DVDs only because they were easy to list. You put the barcode on the back and eBay plonked it up. But then what happened was we got a voucher for 20 quid from a supermarket, and my wife went in and bought some beauty products in there, 3 for 12 quid. We came back as a joke. I put them on eBay. By the time she came out of the shower, we'd sold them all at full price. So I went back and got some more. And that's how our beauty world started.
Wow.
And we started from that moment. And now we're working with 65 of some of the biggest brands and some of the most up-and-coming brands from all over the world, not just the UK brands, but brands from America, brands from Europe. And we control their sales on these platforms.
So will brands would come to you and say, we want you to sell our products on you're effectively one of many retailers for them.
Yeah, so on Amazon we will sell products on Amazon, but we do more than just sell. We protect the brands, we do the advertising promotions, we do everything that is possible on a global scale. So a brand can come to us and open in 17 countries in less than a couple of weeks.
Really?
So that's how it works, and we become one of the biggest in the industry and in health and beauty. So they're all health and beauty products that we do. And so that's how we sort of built our business, and we continue to scale, taking it step by step.
Yeah, and that's all out of Northamptonshire.
It's all out of Northampton.
Brilliant. And your background, are you Northampton sort of born and bred?
I'm born and bred in Oxford. But I moved to Northampton in when I was 20, only a couple of years ago. When I was 20, and the reason for it, I'll tell you the reason is I went to buy my first house. I went to a new build site in Oxford. They didn't have a showroom, so they took me up to the showroom and said, "I'll go over to High and Ferris, have a look at the showroom."
Higham Ferrars.
Yeah, so over I go, and the house is about £200,000 cheaper. So I was like, "That's it, I'm done." And I moved to Northampton, and never moved back from there since.
And Lorraine, is Northamptonshire home for you as well?
Yeah, I've always lived in Northampton, so yeah, born and bred.
What school did you go to?
So I went to St George's Middle School and then Trinity Upper School, so not the best school in the world, a bit wild, but yeah, I've been here all my life.
And how did you two meet? Because you've known each other 7, 8 years? 6 years?
6 years now.
6 years, sorry.
Yeah, I think because you met Lee. Lee was...
Lee's your husband.
Yeah, we founded the Lewis Foundation together. So fundraising in Sainsbury's, because we were their charity of the year. So
yes.
Lee was doing a tombola with them. And then I remember him coming home and to say he'd met Barry and that, you had said that you really want to help and you're going to get in contact. And we're like, to be honest, yeah, whatever. Didn't think we'd hear from you again. But then actually you did get in contact and invited us to your warehouse. And from then, you've supported us ever since, really, just giving us advice and support. And it's kind of like really changed our charity around in terms of how we operate now, in terms of going down this whole route of actually we don't have to just rely on fundraising and donations and grants like charities traditionally do. Actually, we can find a different way to work with businesses to create a sustainable future and help as many people as possible.
Before we go into that in more detail, just take me back to... You're in Sainsbury's. You've clocked eyes on Lee. Just talk me. What was going through your mind? Can you remember that moment?
You're so modest, by the way. Yeah. So I can tell you what happened. I was shopping with my wife, with Katie. We had a few bits and pieces that we thought we'd like to give to charity, but we were looking for at the time a local charity that we could support that wasn't always asking for money. We wanted to, charities. There are so many charities now globally and locally that shake a bucket, want some money, and we wanted to try and do something different. And we were looking for something a little bit different, and we were looking for something that we knew we could make an impact on. And Lee, if you met Lee, was prancing around in Sainsbury's, as he does, selling the world to everyone. And Kate's quite shy, so I went up to Lee and said to Lee, "Oh, you know what you at to talk about your charity?" And told me about his charity, told me about what he was doing there. And they had the tombola, and I said, "Well, I can give you some better prizes than what you've got on this table. Would you be interested?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in that. So that was the very first encounter that we had. And we went off, and I think I got Lee's details, dropped him an email, or probably a text, knowing Lee. Dropped him a text and said, "Look, let's get a couple of bags worth of stuff, and let's donate them." And that's what we did. And ever since that moment, we started to support. I mean, what happened really back in 2018 was the Lewis Foundation was very much on a journey that we were on, but they were a few years behind where we were. But it's the same story. Started with nothing, built a business or a charity up, wanting to give back, wanting to support. And during that time, 2018-19, we just got to a point as a business where I was looking back at the lack of help that I'd had in 2011, 2012. I'd had banks laughing at me, I had no support. And I knew how they felt. And I knew where they were, and I could picture that in their mind. And I just wanted to try and add a little bit of value to that, not just financially, but in what we could do and what we can operate. And we donated a few bags of bits, and then the next thing you know is Lee's gone off and built a hooker duck, right? And he's putting those out in events that they're going out for every day. And I will say this because Lorraine won't. Every single time I met Lorraine and Lee in those first early years, they never once asked me for money.
Yeah, it was still never would. Yeah,
it was all about what we could give them that they could go and earn the money for the charity, and I love that.
And so then, just to go back to what you were saying earlier, Lorraine, what I'm getting from this relationship is it's almost like you're building a sort of like a business model, effectively.
Yeah,
that's going to help kick the Lewis Foundation on and leave a real significant legacy, because you're playing in a different league now compared
100%.
to perhaps where the charity was a few years ago. So talk us through the sustainable surplus stock initiative. That's no good when you've got a list like mine, because when I read about it, it's almost like, well, that's just great,
common sense.
But actually it probably isn't.
No.
So talk us through that.
Yeah, I think what Barry said is, like, at the start when Lee and I began the Lewis Foundation, nobody got us, nobody would support us, because they were like, "Oh, I don't know how a gift is going to help a stranger or giving your time." So,
and on that, it's probably not until you've had a loved one that's been on a cancer ward that you actually realise how that gift could actually make a massive difference.
Yeah, and we found that at the beginning, we were getting rejected. The patients didn't want to accept the pats because they couldn't understand why a stranger would want to help them outside the hospital. People couldn't get how it would help. So, when Barry says that at the start, you really haven't got any support, we totally get that, and he got that as well. We were literally on our own, and Barry came forward, so was probably one of the first few people that actually saw past that and got us, and that actually we wanted to really make a difference. We wanted to achieve things, and that to be able to do it, we have to be sustainable. So the surplus stock campaign would never have happened if probably we never crossed paths, because we hadn't thought about businesses can repurpose stock in a different way. Traditionally, people talk about charities having stock, and it's always secondhand stock for members of the public. And I remember Lee and I always said we never wanted a secondhand charity shop. So when this concept was introduced, for us this was like, oh, it makes so much sense. Why hadn't we thought about it before?
Would I be right in thinking that this is me translating into layman's terms? So if I get this wrong, please shoot me down. It's almost like a food bank for people that are in need, but this is in terms of the people donating unwanted food or food that's surplus if you're a retailer, and then it's going to good. But this is actual stock of products that's going to be sold, that's then going to go to good. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you have to think about it from a perspective, from a business perspective, and I think that's where the difference was with the Lewis Foundation versus other charities. Is other charities were looking at it from a charity positioning, and Lorraine and Lee are looking at it from a business perspective, and from a business perspective, the stock that you've got lying around in a warehouse does one or two things. It lays there and gets dusty and sits there. You have to throw it out, which is not sustainable. You're throwing things away that really and truthfully you shouldn't be. And then you've got this stock that's either not selling, and companies around the globe and around Northampton and around, anywhere you go have got this surplus stock that is, you don't get it right every single time you order stock or you make stock or you have stock. So there was this positioning where we've got this stock. You could offer it out to some stock houses, but then it would end up in the market, and brands don't want it in the market.
Because
it's devaluing the brand, right? So you don't want to sell it out for 10p and £2 because then it ends up in markets that you don't want it in, maybe internationally and everything else. So what do you do with this stock? And most importantly, it's costing those companies money because it's costing them storage space. And if you run out of storage space, you have to get bigger storage space. There's a lot of cost involved in that.
Yeah.
So it's about clearing that storage space down, being wise with the stock that you've got, and putting it into a purpose where suddenly you've got charity shops popping up with the Lewis Foundation that are brand new products being sold for really good prices, which is then having an impact on society and those that want to buy these products that maybe can't before.
And we use the word stock, but let's be more specific. Give us some examples of what that stock is.
Yeah, so we've got things like the beauty brands, we've got makeup, toiletries, cleaning products, homeware, clothing. So originally it was mainly the beauty products, but as the time's developed and other people are starting to see, actually I can donate stock in this way, we're getting stuff that we never had before, like the cleaning products, like the drinks. So it's really evolved in that it's not like large white goods type of stuff. It's like your everyday stuff. If you popped into a shop and say, I need to get some cleaning products, or I wanted to stock up on my toiletries, that type of stuff that people can get from us.
And this initiative, how long has this initiative sort of been going?
Been a year since you started your first store, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'll say probably from before that, because we used to do the pop-up shop. So how it kind of got off the ground, and Barry was regularly donating stock to us, and so we could only do so many tombolas in the community.
And
hooker duck. You'll have to come and see us motorised and everything. Lisa, different.
It's not pretty.
We're not messing. And so we thought we had more stock than we can handle. We know the Grosvenor Centre have like a community space that can be used, so an empty retail space. So we approached them to ask if we could start testing out doing a pop-up shops there once a month. And that's really how we got into the whole concept of having a shop. They were really popular, so we would take all our stock there, set up in the morning, open the shop for 10 o'clock, sell throughout the day, and then close down at the end of the day, take the stock with us. And we're finding that we were getting people coming in. They were a bit confused at the first because they were like, you're a charity shop, but you're not selling anything brand new, nothing second-hand in here. So that was a real concept we had to work on at first. But then once people got it, that they could come in, buy something for cheaper, and they know they're supporting the charity as well, it really took off. So before we know it, the Grosvenor Centre said, could you increase it to twice a month? And then they wanted it more often, because when we weren't there, people coming in a week asking where we were and like, how do we support?
So here we are in September 2024.
Yeah.
Where are the shops now? How often are you in the Grosvenor Centre now?
So we opened our first shop in the Grosvenor Shopping Centre in July last year. So we're open there Monday to Saturday. And then we opened our second one in the mall in Luton in May of this
Luton,
year. Yeah. And the reason the mall one happened is because 6 years ago we met the centre director's wife in hospital, and he'd been waiting for a way to support us. And then when he saw we had Northampton shop, then he got in contact to have one in Luton.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And how many people have you got working in each of the shops?
So in Luton we have 4, because it's very multicultural down there, so the team members, so they can speak Urdu, Punjabi, something we hadn't really appreciated, because in Northampton we don't really have that much in terms of dialect and conversation. And then in Northampton we have probably about 10. We have twice a week we have students from Northgate who do like retail experience with us as well.
Brilliant.
Which has been wonderful. And then the volunteers are people that we've met through the hospital that we've either supported or supported a family member.
So there's a great education piece there. I'm a big fan of business needs education needs business, and I love that you're sort of engaging there with pupils, because that's given them great first-hand experience of what the world of work is like.
And they don't get an opportunity, and that's something we really found. We've worked with Northgate School for a long time anyway, and they've been struggling to get retail opportunities because nobody would give them a chance. So for us, twice a week to be able to take 2 students and just give them an opportunity just to use the tills, manage the stock, and just get involved and speak to customers, just to be treated like everybody else. And so that's something that's really important to us.
So what's the future then? Because if you've got 2 stores now, you know, if you had a magic wand and I said, right, take us to September 2025.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you both?
I know you and Lee would be like stores everywhere and I'll be crying. But definitely more. I think for us it works. It's created as a sustainable income source, which means that we can meet the demands in the future of other hospitals who are continuing to reach out and ask for our support. And
so on that, the hospitals that you support at the moment,
yeah,
they're from Northampton down to Luton.
So we go like Cambridge, Nottinghamshire,
Cambridge,
Lincolnshire,
really? Wow.
Bedfordshire. So yeah, quite a wide area that we spread out to now. So
I think it's important to sort of take a very quick step back before you go forwards, though. The step back being at how many events that the Lewis Foundation had to do at the beginning
to get to this point.
Weekend in, weekend out, point by point by point. And it's about growth and sustainability, right? From a charity point of view, you cannot continue with the two of them going out every single day doing tombolas and hooker ducks. They need to be driving more. So what the shops have allowed them to do is have that potential to grow and to grow quickly without adding extra workloads onto the charity. So for now, when you look forward in that, what we're looking at is how do we get more revenue in those shops? How do we get more people into those stores? How do we get a better range of stock in those stores? More donations from different companies and different businesses around the area. And then once that's happened, then it's about opening new stores and new shops in shopping centres and the shopping areas that people want to go to, and hopefully having a 360. So we're helping the businesses get rid of the stock. We're helping the planet, keeping the sustainability correct and everything else. We're also helping those that potentially want to buy some cheaper products in shops. We're helping those as well. And now we're helping the charity as well. It's that 360.
So Northamptonshire is very much the heart of the logistics sector. 1 in 7 people in Northamptonshire that work in Northamptonshire are working for a company that's connected to the logistics sector. Yeah. We've also got a thriving food and drink sector with over 50,000 people in Northamptonshire working. Who are the I'm going to put you both on the spot now. Who are the companies that you'd really like to work with to get involved in this initiative? Because if we get this opportunity in front of the right person there, job title wise, this is a no-brainer for them. Right? So who would be the one company, Lorraine, Barry, that you think actually, do you know what, we could work really well with them?
Really good question, and
I know I'll put you on the spot there.
Well, I think we are already reaching out to those that are helping locally. So it's no secret that Amazon have a really good opportunity where they're now donating their surplus stock to charity. Yeah, that's come from 10 years of work with Amazon that Amazon have been doing towards that, and the local Amazons are starting to support the Lewis Foundation in that. We'd like to see that nationally. That'd be great to move that into a national position. There are other companies in Northamptonshire that have been donated. I don't know which ones we can talk about, so I won't talk about any of them. But there are some that the bigger companies in Northampton that are donating those stock. But I don't think it matters. We're not targeting any particular business. I think we're looking for those that can give a carrier bag full of stock, or they can give a pallet full of stock, or they can give a truck full of stock. I don't think it matters on that side of things. It's about that giving back. For me, it's about, as a director of a company, how do we give back to the society, and how do we do that locally? And any local business in Northampton, any head offices, companies in Northampton, however big or small, it would be a great opportunity for them to be able to give back to their local community and their local society.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, for us, Amazon was on our list and it started to happen already, which is brilliant. But it can be, we've had like local hairdressers have said, we've got some stock, can we donate that too?
Yeah.
So
Salon Serve over in Earthinborough. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, they're a big outfit there. Husband and wife, I've forgotten his name. But I know
he's
a really nice guy. I'll send him a link to listen to this episode.
Because I don't want to just like rule it out, because then you're like kind of excluding, because sometimes people think I'm too small to contribute.
Yeah, well that's
and actually they're not.
And they like with him, for example, I wouldn't have thought about a hair. Well, obviously not. But I'm not his target market. But I would imagine that they've got a massive warehouse there. I don't know how big it is, but from a surplus stock perspective.
And remember, this all started from a couple of carry bags worth of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it is about however big or small, or however opportunist you can be. When we started donating stuff, we started with the bags of stuff. We donated over in retail value over £500,000 now. By the sound, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So you know that's over the years. So it can start small and then something happens from that.
And from your experience, Barry, I'm guessing for bigger companies that are multi-million-pound turnover, this is it's a massive tick in the box from a CSR perspective, yeah?
Yes, correct. And for us, you know, it's the stock, you have written the stock off anyway. You know, whatever's happened with that stock, it's been written off for whatever reason. It's not because it's dated or anything else, because it hasn't sold, or it hasn't sold in the channels that you have available to you to sell it into. So now either you spend hours, days and weeks trying to get that stock moved into that, or you move on and you send it in and you learn from that and you move on from that. And even now we've got all of our brands donating to the Lewis Foundation now. So the brands we've not, you know, the stock that we have is not just stock that we bought. This is stock that brands have that they've got too much of and they can't get rid of it, and start to move from that perspective. So, you know, when you've got 65 brands doing that and us doing that soon mounts up. And you can start to have the same thing if you think about your business in Northampton. It may not be your donation, but it may be your suppliers or your contacts or your customers in your network.
I think that's how we're finding a lot of our donations are coming through. And I think what people like is that they'll get in contact with us, and it's not like, the business has to make the arrangement for the delivery. Like, we'll say we'll sort that out. So we try and make it as like effortless as possible. We'll say, just get it ready for us, we'll come and get it out of your way. So a lot of times businesses like that, whereas other charities, they've found that they're expecting the business to make the donation and make all the arrangements. People just want the stock gone, and I think that makes a difference for us as well.
Brilliant. So we're going to get behind this, and we're going to push this out in All Things Business, and you know, try and make as many introductions as we can to you. We're also the organisers of the Logistics Awards, which take place at, I was going to say the Park Inn, but it's not now. It's called, I'm just going to call it the Moat House, because that's what everyone knows it as. And I should know this because James will kill me. The Mercure Hotel, I think it is now. And that's in October. Yeah. So I'm going to invite you guys along as my guests on our table, because it'll be good to sort of mix with some of the businesses that are going to be there, because they're got some big sheds in Northamptonshire that employ a lot of people that I'm sure will have a lot of surplus stock. So that's in October. But like we do with all of our guests on the podcast, we always like to end with a question around dinner guests. So, Lorraine, ladies first. You've got a dinner party tomorrow night. You can invite 4 people, past or present. Who would they be?
Michael Jackson, because I just love his voice anyway. He can do the entertainment. I would invite Mother Teresa. Yeah, I just love the work that she does. Nelson Mandela. Mine's quite a deep conversation. And Princess Diana.
Oh, wow.
Because they're kind of people that I follow, and I like how they give and help society. So, yeah.
Go on, Barry. Match that.
That is a deep table. I'm going to bring Richard Branson because I've always want to ask him a few questions. He actually used to be a neighbour of ours when I was a kid, and I used to swim with his daughter at a swimming club, and my mum always chatted to him but never quite introduced me. I'm still not quite sure why that didn't happen. So I'm still a bit bitter about that with my mother. So I'm going to ask a few questions about that. I'm going to invite, I was going to invite Lady Diana. I did, again, because I met Lady Diana when I was a child. I got a letter from her at home. I'd love to ask her a few questions. What's Mark Wright's missus? What's her name?
Who?
Mark Wright's missus.
Mark Wright?
Yeah. Michelle
Keegan. I'm going to invite her for some candy.
Hello, Katie.
Sorry, Kate.
Kate would love it. Kate would love to be at that meeting with her.
Hold on. How could you Mark Wright's missus, but not Michelle Keegan?
There you go, Michelle Keegan. There you go, Michelle Keegan. I couldn't remember her name.
Michelle Wright.
It's been a long weekend. And who else am I going to bring? I'm going to bring Tony Blair, because I want to ask him what on earth he was doing during that period of time in his political life. There you go.
They're 2 strong tables, that is.
There you go.
I'm not going to offer to chef on either of those. Listen, thank you both so much. I love the way that business and charity have come together, and you're making a real difference.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the very best from All Things Business in the podcast.
Thank you very much.